Are we on? Okay. Ow, ow, ow. Turn it off.
Good.
What'd you do?
Thank you.
Broke my knee. You what your knee? Broke my knee on this edge of this stupid table. Ow, ow, ow.
Welcome, everyone.
I'm sorry.
Pull yourself together.
Is that on the recording?
It is.
Okay. Ow.
Hopefully, nobody's watching.
Okay. Roll call.
Paul St. Armand.
Norma Smith, Anna Sumpico, and Maureen Buffy are not with us tonight, and we have a guest. Who are you?
Sandy Lukowitz,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Has everybody read the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
A motion to approve or make changes or?
Motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
She did, your
Oh, you
second.
did?
Yep.
Okay. I second.
Okay. We're back to,
Talk louder.
I think I'm yelling.
Mm-mm.
All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We're back to our list of, the same list we've been talking about. Arkwright Bridge update. There's, I don't know, did we talk about the date? Oh, I should have looked at that. Being put off till 2032.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, so, but that doesn't mean we can't work on moving the bridge anytime between that span of time, so, because nobody's using the bridge, so it can be used, it moved at any time. I spoke with somebody from the land trust, so he spoke to me about possibly moving it to one of their sites. I have no idea what site he means. It was just a comment, so I really don't know what site he was talking about, but anyway, that will come up in time. There is somebody from DOT who wants to meet with the council and those interested at some point. But I wanted to do that presentation before council and then set up that meeting with him.
Do you have the
Because-
name?
John Priest, Preiss. He says there's money in his budget to study or look at where the bridge can be moved. So that would not cost the town anything.
That would be good.
It's in the present budget of that bridge project. And
Mhm.
he says it's at his discretion on how it's spent. So he wants to come, and I had told him about that location that we all looked at,
Mhm.
and he wants to come and see that, but he wants the council there, he wants everybody there when we go.
Okay.
Now, he's from Coventry, so he's familiar with Harris. But this new thing about the land trust, I don't know where they're thinking it would go.
Mhm.
But it's good to have more than one place.
Sure. And so probably, are you going to talk to the person you did on the land trust to
Yeah.
see which site that would be, so we know?
Well, yeah, we don't know. I just talked to him briefly Monday
Yeah.
night at the council
Yeah.
meeting, and he said he had a place.
Mhm.
But I didn't, we didn't get into that discussion, but I mean, it gives us two options
Yeah.
rather than just the one.
And when were you gonna try and do the meeting with the town council? Do you know
I
yet?
haven't set a date yet. I've been
Mm.
working on the presentation. I guess I'll try to I wanted to do it after Labor Day in
Mm.
September.
Yeah.
Am I talking loud enough?
Yeah.
Turned okay.
Enough for me.
Okay. In September after Labor Day, I figured we would do that to the council to maybe explain it in more detail, because there seems to be a lot of confusion about the bridge and other things. So I figured if we would just do that without like DOT there first, just us and them at a council meeting, and then bring it to the state level. And he said to bring council and any politicians that would be interested that day that we meet wherever with him.
Yes.
So, but that's not a set date yet. So I'm thinking, I don't even know what the schedule is for September to be on the council agenda, what do I have to do? I have to go to the town clerk and say,
The town council meetings.
Or
She's
not.
looking for a date after Labor Day.
do
For a
I
town
have to
council
go to
meeting.
who, the town clerk to
Yeah, we'd
ask
ask
to be on
Joanne
the?
and the town clerk.
Okay,
And
Do
then
you
she'll
need-
report.
I'm
Do you
sorry.
need any help setting, Bill, with the presentation?
Well, oh, that's another thing.
I
I wanted to do that with
What's that?
us.
I didn't.
No, help with the presentation. I wanted
Oh.
to do that with us first.
Mhm.
So maybe we should wait till October. Because I want to show it to you guys for
Work on it
input.
next meeting?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so it'll be October, because I want to do that here, so you see what I'm doing, if somebody has some input or whatever,
Yes.
you know, before we go, and if you guys have questions, answer the questions before we go to council.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Could you send what you have now and then we can?
It's PowerPoint.
Yeah, that's okay.
Can
I know, just so that way when we come back in
Yeah.
September, if there's like questions.
Oh,
or
yeah,
anything,
yeah,
so
yeah,
we
it's not-
can-
Most of us have PowerPoint, I'm sure you. must
Yeah.
have, Yeah. I mean,
Well,
so
and
look
there was
at-
a time that you couldn't send PowerPoint
Oh,
through an
really?
email, but now
Oh.
you can.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah, no, there was a time you couldn't, it wouldn't, it was too big of a file, but now I guess you can. Yeah, it's in a PowerPoint. It's one that we did before to the council, but it's been redone because it was not just about the bridge.
Mhm.
But it's pretty much the same information here about, 2032 and showing the bridge.
Well, because there's so many new council members,
Well,
basically
exactly.
repeating the same
Exactly.
presentation over again.
Yeah,
would
which is
make
fine.
sense. Yep.
But I'm also showing what other communities have done with their old bridges
Mhm.
in the presentation, because it's not just a matter of preserving a bridge and plunking it somewhere.
Right.
It's what you do with it. If you can give it some sort of a purpose, it doesn't have to go over a river. But if you can put it somewhere where it has some sort of a purpose, it's better than just plunking this thing in the middle of a field for
Mhm.
people to look at. So what other communities in the country have done with their bridges, I've limited it to iron bridges. I didn't get into the Shelburne
Mm.
Falls one because that's a
Yeah.
stone or mason, and
Mhm.
it's hard. And there's others, there's one in Willimantic, it's a cement, they made it into flower bridge, but it's not, they have iron bridges in Willimantic, they have 3 that cross over the river, because when that was done, the mills were on one side of the river and the people lived on the other side. So they put in those pedestrian bridges, and those are pedestrian bridges, not like Arkwright, that's a
Was a
a
bridge,
vehicle.
yeah.
Yeah. So there are 3 in Willimantic, the old Drake Bridge in Simsbury, Connecticut is kind of a round one, but what they've done with, so I've got a few in there. What other people have done with their bridges. Because sometimes I think when we talk about projects, people just think we're taking old things and there it is. You have to show that they have a life
Mhm.
after their purpose, like the mills, so anyway, so I've added the
And just
bridges.
to add to that, with the presentation, Russell had done me the favor of getting me that topographical of that whole
Mhm.
area in our initial place
that's
where
right,
we're gonna
yeah.
put it.
Yeah.
So I have that information that I can clean up.
And can that go in the presentation?
I can, yes.
Okay.
To show- I mean, right now it'd be confusing for,
Yeah.
the average person just looking at it, because it's got all kinds of info on
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
But I can take and clean that
Narrow it
up
down,
and
yeah.
do it, and kind of,
Okay.
color the river in, the things like that, just to make it a little more
The visual,
graphic to
yeah.
show and, circle where we're intending, if we chose that site to do it, so they have
Yeah.
a better sense of it.
because I know we've
when
talked about
you
it
do it.
often.
Yep.
But I find that when you mention it to people, especially when a new council, they kind of like glaze over.
Yeah, well, because everybody wants to just say, well, that's gonna be so expensive.
Yeah.
That, but, yeah, it is,
But I
but,
think-
you're
Yeah,
gonna do it with grants and
If it
volunteer
doesn't cost the
labor
town
and do
anything,
stuff.
yeah,
You
exactly.
gotta start saving stuff somewhere.
yeah. All right, so bring it, or send it ahead and we'll review it at the
Mhm.
next meeting,
Mhm.
the presentation, and
Yeah.
then some input, ouch.
Yeah, so I guess I have a question from legal logistics. Are we allowed to pass information back and forth through email comments on the presentation? Or do we have to wait
I think
for
we
the
can.
meeting to do that?
Ooh. Now I'm gonna fly across the room.
She's putting on quite a performance tonight for the TV.
Okay, okay. I don't think we're supposed to, like a
Okay.
bulk, but I send them individually. I think that's okay.
Okay,
So I'll
Yeah,
send
'cause-
one to you, I'd send one, I wouldn't lump it together. I did. with
okay,
that-
so it can't be a group email that we're collaborating on,
Exactly,
but you and I can collaborate and you and
Yes,
Paul can
yes, yes.
collaborate.
Mhm.
yes,
Okay,
I think that's how it works.
okay,
I think.
Okay.
Yeah, so I can send it to each of you, like I said, individually. And then if you have some input or questions and then when we come together,
then we can talk as a group.
Exactly.
Okay, that works.
exactly. And Cody, when we do that, can we hook it up to that? Or we can't if you're recording
I'm sorry.
the presentation?
Sure, we
Yeah,
can.
you could, yeah.
Yeah, oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can set it up and share the screen so you could see it and the people on the.
Yeah,
screen
it
see
can
Oh,
be
okay.
done.
All right, okay, all right.
Yeah, my expertise. That's for sure.
We do it on planning all the time.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
so that's what we'll do. We'll work on the month with that presentation. And then we'll look at it in September
23rd.
Hmm?
September 23rd. 's our next
23rd,
meeting.
okay.
I know, because it's the day before my birthday.
Oh, happy
Oh,
so bring
birthday.
cake.
birthday.
Oh, we'll bring cake.
Okay.
Well, we can have a mass birthday. Mine's the 14th.
Oh,
We could just have a September birthday party.
Yeah, we will.
September 24th.
I have 6 birthdays in September. Busy
I
month.
expect something now.
Okay, so we'll do that. We'll review the presentation in September,
Mhm.
and then we'll go before council in October.
Just
And
say-
then after that, we would try to pinpoint a time to meet with the guy from DOT. Okay, that sound all right?
Yep,
Okay, that's not something we have to vote on.
no,
No.
we're just going over
Yeah.
the list.
Okay, pink granite, Paul.
Okay, I don't have anything for you today.
Oh,
You want to hear my kid excuse story
The
today?
dog ate your homework.
No, the storm ate my computer.
Get out
Right now, I
Oh,
can't
no.
open my computer. I have my laptop, but it's not
Oh.
the same. I've got everything
in the
in
big
there.
one. Yeah.
You know, because I've got all the software and everything I
Yeah,
do
yeah.
for my photography stuff. Ever since the storm, and I've been trying past couple of days, all of the remedies that they offer, it keeps coming up, the blue screen saying you have an error. You can't, will not open. I've got to call the computer guy and get him over. I
Oh,
mean,
wow.
I've had this
Okay.
happen to me
Bring it
once.
in, Paul.
What's
Bring it
that?
in. To
Bring it
him.
in today.
Bring it into him. He'll fix it.
No, you'd have to come over to my house.
Oh, you'd
and
have to
pay
go to
him
his
there.
house.
I pay you cash.
You don't want to lug it over?
he only lives right here.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm good at using my computer, but I'm not good at fixing it. And I had this happen once
It's a
before.
desktop, right?
I should bring my
It's a
computer
desk-
to you.
Yeah.
You know where he lives?
No, it's a
Right next to the old
CPU,
police
you
station.
know,
He's
and
right
it's
there.
got not, all kinds of things hooked up to it. So
But you're only 2 minutes down the road, not like.
I do, I only live down the road, right on Main Street. But I can't, I've tried 3 days in a row, different things that the thing comes up on the screen and I can't open it. And I got all my business, I can't do a bill for a customer if
Oh
I
my
want, I
God.
can't do anything. 'cause
What
it's
happened
all
to
on there.
paper?
Nobody does
No, but I've
paper.
got, I got a whole system. There's spreadsheets, there's all this stuff that I do with.
It's in the box.
Yeah. And for guys that know how to do it, I know that it's not a big deal, but
To you, it's a big deal.
for me, it's a big deal. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
You gotta know how to go into the thing and reset it. It's gotta be reset. It will not open. It will not go through the process of doing what it does to open all the programs.
So
Something
that'll
I
be
can
on
hire you to
next
do.
week's,
It'll
next
be on the
month's
next
agenda.
month's agenda
Yeah,
again.
because I couldn't print anything out.
No, I know. Okay, yeah.
Just.
Well, it keeps
But-
showing up.
I know, and next, well, the same thing, I'll do the site plan thing too,
Yeah.
and bring that.
Yeah, okay,
But-
all right.
I will,
Okay,
I've got to get it fixed over the course of the next several days here, because I've got stuff to do for my business that I need to print out. I
No, I
got
know.
plans to print out,
Yeah.
all my,
Did you guys
Okay.
meet with Raina?
no,
no,
we haven't, because he doesn't have his plan.
no,
He has to have something to show.
I gotta have that, and it's. Again,
Because it's another thing, if you talk about it and you can't visualize
I've
it,
gotta-
it's,
well, because how I do something like that is I take the picture that I've made of the site, the regular photograph, And with my software, I taken literally create a zone that's black and white that you fade out somewhat, and then I draw it in on it and it fades into the real picture. So it's very helpful to show it to them. But anyway.
Yeah, so we haven't
So
done
next
that.
And I gotta show, I gotta do that in order to kind of depict it.
Did you get information back on if we had any budget? Because you said this, the
No.
grant would not
Well,
cover
we
all of
asked
it.
John and he's not here and he was supposed to look. Russ isn't here, so Cody, who do we ask about budget?
Cody.
About your budget?
Yeah,
You can go directly to Lisa, the finance director.
Yeah, to Lisa Mills.
Yeah,
Well,
if
usually
she was
it's-
busy, I would call Lori.
she was busy.
If she was busy,
Oh,
I
if she
would
was-
call Lori.
Oh, Lori wrote.
Second
And Paul,
okay.
you have a rough idea of what it would cost?
A rough idea in my mind is probably around $10,000 to $15,000.
And what is it?
More
What's
likely
the
the
specific
lower
grant
end.
you were talking about? Is there
There's
a
a state
specific
grant.
grant that
There's a
we
state
would
grant
apply
that
for
comes
that?
up in September.
What's it called?
It's the Certified Local Government Grant. They usually come up in September. Rhode Island Heritage Preservation Commission does it. It's a federal grant, but you go through that commission.
And it's in September, so that's probably. gonna be
Generally
on
in
our agenda.
September.
It'll be
Yeah,
on our agenda. for
yeah, I've been
September
watching,
also.
but it
Okay,
hasn't.
Haven't seen them
Yeah.
come out yet. Okay.
But generally that only pays a portion of it.
It'll pay a 40% or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It only pays a portion of it. It
I
doesn't
mean,
pay the
what I
whole
would
thing.
try to do, once I have some drawings that, we can show people,
Mm.
if they say, yeah, they give us the okay, is try to get the backhoe work or the masonry work donated. And
Mm.
just to give it, for instance, I'm involved in building the addition for Patuxent Valley Historical Society. And the excavating was all donated by Jared Noon's Construction. So, the machine, Jerry Tellier actually did some of the work himself, but they sent an operator over, he dug the hole for that and, donated that to it. So something like this, it would be worth a try to get
Right.
someone local to, to do it.
Donate.
And because I'm in the business, I know, a few different people that I would approach to ask if they would do that. Because it's a small job. It's not, this requires a small backhoe that has a thing that you lift the granite with,
Right.
and you got to dig out, and then the masons would work with them, but you got to have that, and it would save some, machine time. It might save $1,000 in machine time or something like that, but I would try that type of route, because we've got the material, most of it, and so we keep the cost down. Once I have something, to present, to have the town council okay and say, yes, go ahead and move
Right.
forward, find out what it's gonna cost and, whatever we have to do. But it's that type of project that you could get other people involved to help donate, because even Brian Giat, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Giat, the gentleman that is,
You said you were gonna talk to
I
him.
did talk to him, and we would need some. He does gravestones and all that stuff, and does all the carving. Have him do, some stuff for this, carve into a piece of stone what I have in mind for the design there. So anyway, hopefully he would do it for free, but I don't know. I would hope.
Would be nice.
But-
So I have another question about the grant. Do we have to have a full project plan to submit to the grant? Or do we just say, here's a project we'd like to do,
No,
and
you
then we
have
have
to
to go
have-
do all the
You
labor?
have
You
to
have to
have
send some
specifics.
paperwork
Yeah,
as to what the
yeah.
project is.
Okay.
they'd
Are
need
we-
a site plan.
Yeah.
I'd have
Yeah.
to do a site plan of it, which
Yeah.
I've downloaded the site. So I have that. I gotta blow it up. But then you would send, site plan showing where the improvement would be and what's involved. I'd send them pictures of the granite that we have, which I've already taken pictures of, and then the drawing depicting, with a narrative saying this is.
And then the history of,
Which Norma would write, 'cause you write a lot better than me.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's been more than patient
Yep,
with that granite behind DPW, so.
but it would also tie in with the history of that house. We're not just taking
Yes.
granite and throwing it. It has to tie into that history,
Yes.
Yeah,
and we'd, again,
into the house.
the plaque that would be done with it would have a
Yeah.
picture of the house,
Yeah.
and the story behind that
Yeah.
and stuff like that. So it's connection to,
And it's in a
The place
national
that was
historic
across the
district,
street.
which
Yep.
makes a difference too.
yep.
Okay.
So
Were
we
you
had-
there when Byron Reed came down?
Oh, yeah,
oh, yeah,
we're gonna,
I missed it.
you missed it. Oh, God.
So did you there's nothing salvageable, but that's all
We're gonna
gone.
discuss that.
All right.
Okay,
I was gonna bring up the village signs, because we had talked about grants for that too, but Maureen was supposed to be looking into that and she isn't here. So we'll
Yeah.
table that to next
Yeah.
month. The house plaques,
I do have some info on that.
okay,
The woman that runs who does that, who runs the store right there on Main Street, did get back to me. And she is gonna be reopening. She had told me she was gonna be there this week, cleaning the place up and getting it ready to reopen, but she said she'd be very interested in
Okay.
doing those for us. She's still very interested in doing them. So
What business is that?
that Firefox, that's across from the
Firefox.
fire dispatch.
it's right across,
Well,
it's
Laurie's-
right what was the old Coventry, the original Coventry Credit Union back in
Where
the
Laurie's store
60s.
was. Where Laurie's store was,
Oh,
yeah,
right,
in that
yeah.
little building. yeah.
Firefox.
Oh, okay. That place has been,
No, well, because of
They closed
COVID, they
because of
closed down
pandemic.
because of COVID.
oh, okay.
You know, they have been closed for 18 months.
Hmm.
And she, had at the same time, just in coincidence with it, she had a new baby. So, you know, it just, made more sense for her to just work from home because she does most of her sales online anyway.
Now, when is she
And-
gonna open?
Soon, she didn't give me a date, but she said,
Okay,
I told her if I saw her there this week when I was around, I would go over and talk to her, but I've been, again, I'm very busy and I have not been around that much this week, so
okay.
if I see her
So the
car
name of
there,
it is Firefox?
Yep.
I think that's its name, right?
I have another
Okay.
question.
Is that right?
So the grant that you were talking about that's coming up in September, can we use grants to offset the cost of the house plaques? Because I think we would get more people to put them up if we could say
yeah,
part of the cost of it is covered by whatever and,
Hmm.
right? Because all of these signs, they would have, if you want a sign on your house, you have to pay for it,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Is that something that's, I guess, part of, within the grant scope? Or would we apply for multiple grants?
Well, there's other grants.
Yeah.
I wouldn't tie that in with the village
Okay.
signs. Or the grant, I wouldn't tie them in, I would do that separate. Excuse me.
but it's not a bad idea what you're
No, but
saying.
there's
So I
grants.
know, yeah, I guess, how can I get smart on all the grants? Where do you go to find all that stuff?
They're not always easy to find.
Search engines.
Yeah, well, there's the Champlain grants,
Yeah.
they're done for this year, but Champlain grants and they changed their date and I forgot to call and find out when their date is. I think it's July now, but it used to be April. Theirs is a very simple grant process to do, where this one with the state is more complicated because it's government. I mean, it's just more involved.
Yeah, but Champlain doesn't do anything for the cities and towns anymore.
That's right, that's right, they don't do municipalities.
Right.
That's right, they used to. They used to, but they don't anymore. But there's others out there.
And maybe we could do it on the Coventry Historical.
We could, because we're gonna talk about that today too.
Okay.
That's a suggestion.
So, as far as the house plaques are concerned, what I'm thinking is that we come up over the fall with a design and a form for people to come up, to fill out, because they have to do their own research. We're not doing research for everybody. So they would fill out this form with their house information, and then we would, I think, be set to go in the spring. Give ourselves some time to plot out the application, pick a design, find out the cost, what we're gonna charge, whether or not we can get a grant. And then in the spring, we publicize, do you want a sign for your house?
How old would the house have to be?
Well,
We had said 1949 was the
yeah,
cutoff,
we kind of
before
established that.
1949.
Okay.
And wasn't there a form we had gotten from another town or city?
I know PV does it, but I don't know. I don't remember having a form, but there has to be a way of getting a sample
I
form.
thought we
Yeah,
had one.
That's easy enough.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I thought we had one.
Yep.
We may
I-
have, but I don't remember that.
I can ask too,
So,
like down in Narragansett,
yeah.
gentleman I had come and talk to
Yeah.
us.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got to talk to the head of planning in Narragansett tomorrow because of the house that I'm gonna be doing there that I have to ask him some questions on. So anyway, he would know if they might have something like that that I could
Yeah.
refer to. two to get,
Right, you
because they
know,
did so much of that with their historic district.
there again, we don't want it to be complicated, but
No,
you know, if somebody wants to plaque their house, and then we keep a record, of course, who has a plaque. But they have to do their own research and whatever, because we don't have time to do
Mm-mm.
people's research for them. Okay?
Yep.
So we'll start well, in September, we're gonna focus on Arkwright Bridge. We can discuss this again,
Mhm.
but maybe in October, then we can choose a design, get a form, and begin over the winter. And then in the spring, when people are
Plats.
coming out of the, you know, from being in all winter, make it a spring project. Okay,
And at the time, I mean, because again, it was so long ago now, when we were talking about the signs, I know I had gone online and done a bunch of looking at different things like that. I'll do it again, you
Yeah.
know, to get some more info too. And I'm
You
sure,
had pictures, you drew, yeah.
yeah,
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 I actually have a program that I can, you know, you can do a publisher and that and make up
Yeah.
designs for things like
Yeah.
that.
and it doesn't have to be complicated.
No, it needs to be kept simple.
Yeah,
because otherwise it'll
circa
get too
whatever,
expensive.
circa whatever the year.
Yep,
If somebody wants a sign with somebody's name on it, if it's so-and-so's house, like
Mhm.
Charles Capwell House,
yeah,
that could be a different type of sign,
right.
of course.
Yeah, I think we need to offer a couple,
Yeah, 'cause
two
some-
different, not a whole bunch, but two different ones.
Yeah.
One that's a little bigger so that you can
Put
put
a
a
name.
name on it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because if you go to Wickford and whatever, their
Yeah.
signs are not all that big.
I mean, in East Greenwich, because I've done a couple of renovations to historic houses there, and they have, and the signs that they have are fairly old. I don't know when they did them, because I had to have I actually took one home and redid it because it was all faded, but they were very simple, but this one had a name on it. I forget the name of it. You know, it wasn't that big. It was like that. in order to
Yeah,
fit
they
it,
don't have to be
so,
huge.
Yeah.
But, you know, some might just want a year and some might have a person associated with the house.
They obviously did the same thing we're trying to do, because there was a whole bunch of houses had all the same style,
same
you know,
style.
in the way they looked on the houses in
Yeah.
that part of the historic district, so.
Yeah, okay. Oh, all right. The reason why bylaws is back on here is because we had voted to change the name. But what we didn't bring up, which we had intended to bring up, is not term limits, but when somebody's on a commission and they don't come to the meetings, could we put something in it that after so many meetings, this,
They're out.
well, you don't put that in
Well,
bylaws.
no, but that's
The
the.
chair
brunt
is
of it.
considered vacant and we
Yeah.
get them replaced.
We should have done that years ago.
It should have been done in the
Is
first
there,
place.
yeah, is there words like that in some other
I'd have to look.
space that we could just steal the words and
Well,
stick it
yeah,
into
yeah, I'll
ours?
do that, but,
Yeah.
for next month, we'll review it again. And if you miss, but how many meetings would you say?
3.
I think that's a
Yeah,
quarter.
three's the-
yeah.
I was gonna
Three's
say,
a
I think
limit.
that's what's in the other ones, isn't it?
Hmm?
Three?
What are the-
Isn't there something?
3 in the course of a year?
3 in a row.
Three
Oh,
in a
3 in a
row.
row.
3 in a
Aren't there
row.
Okay, all right,
bylaws
'cause I was gonna
from
say, that's
another
pretty
committee,
harsh if
commission?
you're going 3 in the course of the year.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, 3 in a
somebody
row.
told me before that there was something in a bylaw, so it's not in this one, but is it in another one?
Well, we can look.
Oh, it's in many bylaws.
It's not in
so-
this one.
So
It's
then we
not
can
in this
just
one.
take it.
That's what I
Put
mean.
it in
Yeah, go
this
find
one.
it
Yeah.
from someone else's section.
Yeah.
So-
And it
into
was
ours.
3. I remember somebody telling me
yeah,
it was
Three
3.
in a row.
3 in a
Yeah.
row.
3 in a
Okay.
row,
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
Three-
without a valid excuse.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. So can somebody put that in a motion?
I make a motion to
Include?
include a clause in the bylaws to have someone step down if they miss 3 meetings in a row, that they would be required to step down from their position.
Or the site would be
The-
considered
The
vacant
words you used is the chair is considered vacant.
if the chair is considered vacant.
So, yeah.
If you have, if
I mean,
you
it's gonna
miss,
be
Or
wording
wording
written in a
something
way
like
that it
three
makes
meetings,
sense.
3 consecutive meetings, the
chair
chair is
vacant.
considered vacant and.
That's it.
Yeah,
That's it.
yeah.
That's it. If you miss
Yeah,
3
it's- it's
okay.
consecutive
I
And
mean,
we
meetings.
you
get
can
somebody
refill
You
it.
have to,
Okay.
Very cut and dry.
I don't know.
I made the
I waited
motion
for
and
her to
you've got
reread it.
to-
Did you reread it?
Yeah,
second.
if you miss 3 consecutive meetings, your chair is considered vacant, right?
Yep.
Your chair is vacant, not
Your-
considered. Your chair
Your
is
chair
vacant.
is vacant.
Yeah,
Right.
you're
okay.
gonna say.
Okay.
All right,
Someone's
so
gotta second
Paul
it.
and
Who
somebody
made
needs
the
a
motion?
second.
Paul
I
I
made,
made the
second.
motion.
she
All right,
she
so
second.
we'll do
Okay.
Paul.
All right, so we'll do that.
Mhm.
We'll vote on that next
I'd
month.
say all I, but there's only two anyway.
Aye.
I,
And the state grant, I brought, that's, because we already talked about that, that's coming in up in September. We can do the village signs, we can do the granite, but either way, we have to have some information. But I think Maureen thought the signs were free if it was in a national district. So if we focus on the national districts first and at least get them done, then we can focus on the villages that are not in a national district, or, yeah.
We're talking about the brown signs.
The brown
now, right?
signs,
Okay.
but yeah, no,
I
I
got
only went
lost for a
back to,
second, yeah.
because the state grant, so the state grant, we want to do the granite for the
I
state
think the
grant?
granite
it's the
makes the
biggest
more
one.
sense.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so the granite would be when September, when this comes up for the state grant. I think it comes in September and it's to the end of the year, so nothing would happen till next year.
right, but when does it have to be submitted?
I think it starts in September. I don't know the deadline. I'll have to look
Oh,
up the
okay.
deadline.
Right.
I'll have to look up the deadline. Okay,
Mhm.
any other questions on these items? We'll move to new business. New business, I was going through some old emails looking for something else, and I found this, something that the former town planner had sent out to the former town manager at the time about Main Street grants that the Rhode Island Commission, no, Rhode Island Commerce gives out, and I'm looking into that, and I thought that with Main Street grants, they do the main streets. Now, I don't know if possibly the Trestle Bridge would come under that,
Mhm.
or if Washington, or
The Village of Washington.
Washington, or maybe something to dress up Sandy Bottom Road, because that is not pretty.
Neither is Tile.
No, none of them are pretty, but you know, they're there,
Right.
but they haven't been dressed up.
Main Street needs it.
Main Street definitely, well, we can do
'Cause I
Main
live
Street in
there.
Washington.
Do
and-
Main Street in Washington, make,
Yeah, put like those gas light
yeah,
things or whatever. I mean, most of the village is gone, but still try to bring that feeling back.
it's a great idea.
So I'm gonna look into that. I mean, I sent an email asking them for information, but they didn't answer me, so I'll have to call somebody.
Yeah.
So, anyway, so the Rhode Island Commerce does that. So let's see, that's another grant that we could go in for a different type of project. So there are grants out there. And this, I think, goes to municipalities or whatever. Some grants don't. You have to have the 501c3. So if we partner with the Historical Society, they have a 501c3 that can be used for historical purpose. So we could work together on things, but yet they're separate. Is that confusing to people?
Not to me.
It's not confusing, it's just, is it allowed? You know, how do you do it?
Well, the Human Services has a separate 501c3. Because a town entity apparently can't have one.
Right,
So they have one that they use, but it's theirs.
but you're allowed to partner with another.
Well, yeah, because when I tried to,
Nonprofit
when
to
I
do this.
discussed 501c3 with the town, everybody almost had a nervous breakdown over it. It was like,
Mm,
it's not it's not the simplest thing to do, but when you're involving a municipality, it's different. So if you can partner with somebody that has one, but you would have to keep the funding separate. You know, if we got a grant as a commission with the 501c3, it can't go into their pocket
Right.
and they spend it. I mean, you have to have, it's the accounting, it's the
Okay,
accounting of
yeah,
it.
This, right, you have to.
You're just
account for the money.
utilizing my 501c3.
Yes,
That's
Mhm.
it.
yes. And the funds have to be kept separate. You can do that.
Right.
You can do that. But you have to have the accounting. Because when they did the W3R, they used Payne House's 501c3.
Yeah.
They had a separate account, separate checking account, and all that money went into this account, and all the records were kept, but it did not belong to Payne House.
Hmm.
So it can be done.
The library is also a 501(c)(3).
They have a separate one?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, so there are a lot of them,
Who has the separate
the
one?
library.
libraries.
A lot of them
Oh.
do, a lot of them do.
Yeah.
South County Tourism Council has a separate 501c3, but it's theirs.
Right.
This is not the commission's 501c3, it's theirs. It's the Historical Society's 501c3. So when it's done, it has to be done in a way that they're kept separate.
Yeah.
So if we had a project, if we wanted to, we had a project to apply for Champlain with, and they weren't doing a Champlain grant, we could do it through the Historical Society. But as a municipality, we can't.
Right.
Mm.
Got it.
You got it?
Got it.
Everybody get it? Okay, so if we can do that, there's things we can do jointly and get more accomplished than everybody out doing. If groups, commissions, societies, or whatever would work together, you'd get a lot more done. The town or municipality is always more complicated, but you just, I think, get a lot more done when everybody works together instead of everybody keeps in their little cocoon. But anyway, so I'm going to pursue this Main Street grants for Washington Street. What would you propose for Washington Street? You have a better eye on that than me. I mean, the village is pretty much gone.
I will have to give it some thought, but again, finally, with the Kent County Water Project coming to an end and
Oh, yeah.
roads getting put back together and stuff, you know, you can actually start to think about that stuff, but.
Yeah. I mean, that's not
Yeah.
going to happen right away. I don't
No.
even know if this is running right now. I'm not even sure when this runs.
Yep.
But-
I mean, I've never given it a thought because I never thought that anything could happen like that, so.
Yeah.
But,
Well, they have
You
this,
know,
the-
I mean, some of it, you know, you see things in some of the towns they do where they are able to give grants to help improve the houses, you know, with whether it's, you know,
Yeah.
facade or whatever to improve them and stuff
Yeah.
like that along the street.
See, I don't
and-
really, I haven't read the whole thing, so I don't
Yeah.
know all the details on this, but if it's Main Street, I mean, it's gonna be,
Yep,
I
well,
would
it
think-
has been I mean, it has improved some, that's, but I mean, like, right now, you've got the abandoned house down there on the corner where the car hit the foundation
Oh, yeah, I
and
know.
knocked it off. You know, what's gonna happen with that place is, I mean, the town probably owns it now, I don't know. Because it,
Which
whatever,
no, I think
No.
Craig owns it. I think it's
Craig-
coming
Oh.
down.
Craig Bernardo owns them.
oh,
It's coming down.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming down.
I
And what
mean,
about
it's-
working with the Economic Development Commission?
I haven't talked to them yet, but yeah,
Mm.
we need to, well, all right, the other night, the land trust guy wants to work with us.
And Mr. Clements, I
Yeah.
think that's his last name.
Which I was surprised, because anytime I've talked to the land trust before, they were like,
Well, he's a new,
he's new, which is
He's a new
great, and that's
chair.
what you need, people that are gonna work together.
Yeah.
But I haven't talked to EDC yet.
what about the fire alarm building? Has any doubt been made
I
on that?
haven't, I doubt it.
No.
I
no,
don't think so. I've seen
No.
people coming in and out of it.
the town manager hasn't made a decision, I don't think, about any of
Yeah.
them.
Mm.
But, you know, who knows where that will lead us? If we can get one of these Main Street grant things going with EDC, I would think EDC would be on board with it,
You would think.
you would think. But, you know, we can look into that further. I mean, I just found it last week, so I haven't really had a chance
Mm,
to look into it yet. Any more discussion on that? No. Right, this other one is Reed Schoolhouse. Purpose was a separate one, Michelle.
Oh, I'm
That's okay.
sorry.
That's all right. It's there. It's just that it's not the Reed Schoolhouse purpose. The Reed Schoolhouse started in the 70s, and at some point in that time, they made a deal with the town to take on the Reed School. And they've made a little, you know, like it originally was. It was being used for storage by the town. And they have desks and whatever. Have you seen it?
Gone inside now.
No, well, because that's going to change. We want it to be open more. But anyway, so they maintained it for a number of years, and then the last 10 years or so, as their membership aged, it kind of needed repair. So a few years ago, the commission got a grant and had it redone. Well, now with we had talked about a room at the annex. And that's what this letter is for that I sent everybody. We asked for a room, and the purpose that we as a commission asked for the room is that there's certain things in towns we'd like to collect and put somewhere, house it till we decide what to do with it. They're not, it's not paper. It's the old crossing sign on Station Street.
Yep.
When the Byron Reed building came down, things from that could have been brought in, but we don't have a place to put these things. Well, last year, the Coventry Historical Society requested a room because they lease the Summit Library for their museum. Well, the Summit Library has not been taken care of in years, and it's very damp and wet and whatever. And we went in and the bugs were eating the books, and you can't, it's heavy, it's musty, there's a smell of oil. So
There are creatures living in the
there's critters
attic
in the
that are
attic, yeah.
roaming the building.
Yeah, so we asked for, the society asked for a room to put the collection in because it's deteriorating in the Summit Library. Well, after a while, they finally got a room. The society finally got a room. But we at the commission didn't get a room. And now they're trying to give the commission, well, I shouldn't say they're trying to, it's been suggested that the commission take the Reed School for our purpose. But in the meantime, the society's been paying all the utilities on it. The society has a grant to put the filtering plexiglass
Windows,
for
yeah.
some protection and whatever. So they're going to spend money on that for this school. But now if the commission takes it over, where does it leave the society? Now, we need storage. When Byron Reed came down, I was there. And I had asked before it came down if we could go in to see if there was anything worth salvaging. And I was told, no, it wasn't safe. So we weren't allowed to go in. But somebody went in and filmed. So I don't know.
Yeah, they
They
did.
probably,
really?
they probably didn't ask permission.
I didn't see that.
I made the
film.
mistake of asking permission probably, but somebody had gone in and it was all torn up. We went in 8 years ago was the last time I've been in, and it wasn't torn up like it was. But anyway, as I'm watching this come down, the glass, the doors, the framework, all this stuff was just munched down into splinters and carried to the landfill.
The beautiful mahogany staircase.
Now, that's the purpose of this letter, because something else was said to Maureen that this isn't our job. Our job is a district commission, which we changed from a district commission.
Do
And
you have an
that's what
extra
this,
copy?
yeah, I'll send you a copy. So I've got the new ordinance in here of what our purpose is. And what should have happened with Byron Reed, and it's too late, and I'm not arguing, it had to come down. I'm not saying it didn't. We tried to save it, but it had to come down. That there should have been a process of getting salvagers in there to see what's in there that was salvageable. I mean, they could have maybe sold some of that glass because restoration contractors, they want that old glass. It's wavy, the doors, I mean, there was still value in that building, even though it was condemned. Now, when I was there and I'm watching this claw just crunch the building away, and we did grab a wheel from the elevator shaft. It's in the room over here. And it says on it, Byron Reed, Anthony, Rhode Island.
Oh.
So I did manage to get that, but at the peak of the elevator shaft, and I didn't speak up fast enough because I'm looking up and I'm taking a picture at 1916 and this claw comes in and grabs it. As I should have said, can I have that peak? But it was too late. So I did take some bricks, but the old brick, that's worth money, the old brick. Because old brick is hard to get for restoration projects. The old glass, the doors, the hardware to the doors, the woodwork around, and the stairs. There was still value in that building that never was considered and should have been. So that's the purpose for this letter. It's too late for Byron Reed, but we still want a place.
That's the thing, though. You're saying it's too late for Byron Reed. It was too late for the mill workers. It was too late. Everything is the
Yeah.
seafood restaurant came down too late.
Yeah.
But we did get the granite out of and we did get a wheel.
Yes.
So
We
did
got the
get a
wheel
wheel.
'cause I was
wheel.
outside,
We
yeah.
did get a wheel, but I mean, it has to be,
This will be
they-
another step before something just gets torn down.
exactly. I mean, you've got, there's finally a preservation commission. It should have been included in some way in the process.
There absolutely needs to be a room that is big enough for us to have shelves in, stuff like that, to be able to organize the stuff that we do have, which is sitting over in Parks and Recreation right now,
There are
and
some,
other things that we would accumulate if we had, over time.
say
as
we had this
have it.
room, Byron Reed's coming down, we go in, I mean, if this is how, we go in, we say, we want this glass. We want these doors, we'll figure out where they're going later, we'll sell them, we'll this, we'll that, but we need a place to put them. I mean, you're not gonna put doors in the Reed School.
No.
Because I think the Reed School needs to stay an
Reed
example of a
School is
school.
I mean,
It's
they
not a
did the
storage.
work to restore it to what it was. You don't want to
No,
go
it's
and
not
now
storage.
undo that, and it's inappropriate
But see,
for
this-
what our purposes are.
Exactly.
And
because-
not only that, I mean, we received grants from
Right,
George Nardone. The first grant we got, we managed to find a painter that scraped the shingles, repainted them, put them back up, and that was one grant. Now we have a second grant,
for this-
which
Why would
we're
we
in the
even-
process of putting, I don't want to use the word plexiglass.
It's a film,
No,
protective film.
no, it's plexiglass, but it's a
But it's-
special plexiglass.
Right, it's
That,
I remember talking about that.
a lot better
time ago.
than
Yeah,
what was
you
there
don't really
years
see
ago.
it.
Keep the.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I mean,
Yeah.
if we're not going to use the school for our meetings, why am I spending any of this money? But I did email Ben and I told him that we don't meet during the winter. So I would like to use the school once a month for our meetings. And that's it. I know he wants to use the school for other meetings for other people. All the stuff that's in the school belongs to the society. Everything on the walls, the clocks,
You don't want
the-
people coming and going. in
the
there.
chairs,
No.
and he talked about storing them. Well,
Where? You need a room.
Well, they have a room in the annex. So
They
now
don't have
there's-
room for that.
I'm just
we don't have-
saying
we
that-
don't have a room for everything that's
Let
in
me
the
tell you
school.
about the room. The first day I went in there, I went in and I'm looking around and I said, oh, okay, this isn't bad. I'm looking around. I'm alone. Got in fine, got a key. Couldn't get out.
She got locked in.
Couldn't get out. The handle wouldn't. So fortunately, there's another connecting door because all the rooms would connect, but they put these eye hooks on. So I went in the room I wasn't supposed to go in to get out because I couldn't get out of this room. Then went back in and hooked the door back up. So I thought that was funny. I'm in here, I can't get out.
And, I very much appreciate Ben giving us the room. Believe me, I do, because I don't know where I would be if I had to vacate the library. Where am I gonna put all this
So
stuff?
Summit, is it empty now?
Not
Oh,
yet.
no, we haven't moved
We
anything
boxed
out.
Things up, but no one
We've hired a
nothing.
mover, but we're just letting him,
We were waiting for the room.
wait, right.
Where are we gonna go with it? The stuff in Summit, where are you gonna go if we didn't have a room yet? We were waiting for the room.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, But you got the room now.
We
oh,
finally have
yeah,
the room
yeah,
now,
I've got the room. I'm hoping that he'll let us, just continue to have our meetings there during the nice weather
And
and,
have it open from time to time.
yeah, I mean, if the town wants to take it over and make it a meeting place for other people, I mean, that's fine. I have no objection to that. But who's gonna maintain it? Who's gonna
Well, there again,
make sure nobody destroys anything in there?
Reed School was being used as storage once it closed as a school.
Right,
The society took it over and they
made it a school.
took care of it.
Restored.
Mhm.
You also have example of another school that the town owns in town. The Mapledale School.
Right.
Look at the difference between Mapledale, who has
Oh,
not
God,
been
yeah.
maintained. Nobody has, did we show you Mapledale? No one has maintained it. It's another building that will need to come down.
It will.
And more than likely, if the society had not stepped up with Reed School, it would be the same way.
Mm.
I know the last 10 years, they didn't do much because the people were all aging and they didn't
Yeah.
have the stamina to
They
do much
couldn't
with it.
do
And
it.
it was declining, and then the commission started, and the commission got that grant for the last work that was done. So I don't want to see it not be a school. We need a room to bring our railroad sign in, and our wheels and our, not the granite, but
There'll be other stuff you need, and
Mm.
the main point of it is it needs to be something that is not going to require outside maintenance, not going to require separate insurance, not going to require snow shoveling, and is handicapped accessible so that you can bring stuff in, or if you want to have anybody come in, you don't have that problem. So that's why we're looking for a room here in the annex to have, but we can get
Yeah.
some
The-
shelving and stuff for and be able to
Yeah.
stop putting
well, the
things in
documents
it.
and things that we have at Parks and Rec could go in their room, and just keep them separate, and we could
Yeah.
use their
Right.
room. But if we're collecting doors and things, I mean, for example, the Byron Reed Building,
We need our own room.
yeah, to
We
bring,
could keep them separate. You've got a
Yeah.
lot of stuff
yeah, to
that's
bring,
gonna go into that other room.
that
that's coming
railroad
from
sign
the
still
other.
should come down.
Yeah.
And put somewhere,
The glass cases alone
Mm.
that are coming out of the library, that's gonna take up the whole
the whole room,
room that I've
Mm.
got.
because they only gave us one.
So
Okay, so.
we'll see.
No, the railroad sign, you've been saying it and saying it and saying it for, I don't know how many
Years.
years. And it's gonna come down the wrong way,
Mm.
and it's gonna be too late, like everything else.
It's a rail.
I know,
It's not a post, it's
I
a
know,
rail
I
from the
know.
railroad,
I know, like, It's
and,
right-
and people don't know it's there, which is
No,
fine.
it's up in the
'cause It's in the trees. I'm glad people don't know it's there, because they won't wreck it, because they don't know it's there.
yeah.
But that's just one thing.
We talked about taking that down years ago,
Oh,
but
yeah.
there's nowhere to put it.
There was nowhere to put it.
Dean wanted to take it
Dean,
down.
yeah.
Mm.
Yep.
Dean was gonna take
Yeah, I
it.
went and took pictures of it. I've got them in my computer that I can't open.
I mean,
But
people
Cody
will
may
know.
save my life on that one. I don't know.
It's all
If I
about
bribe
bribe.
him.
You don't have to bribe me. Never charge town employees.
You don't have to bribe him, he
No.
said.
Good.
No, but I mean, that's the example. And there again, when Byron Reed did come down and say we went in and we said, we want this one, where would we have gone with it? It's like, we can't,
So do you want, so I read your letter, and I thought it was very thorough, but it sounds like we have more than, you could add 3 pages of examples of
I
how,
know.
if
Oh, God,
only we
yeah.
had a space, we could have done all this other stuff. Is it
Mm.
necessary to add all of that to your letter to sell the case better before you submit it?
I,
Or is it
suppose I could.
overkill? I mean,
Well-
the example you have is more than enough, I think.
Well, I
I feel
use
that that's
Byron
more
Reed.
than enough.
I used Byron
Yes.
Reed.
Right.
Because that was the most recent, and I cringed as it was crumbled. Because nobody salvaged anything from what I could see. They went with a big claw and they just
Yeah, they
crunched,
just ripped everything apart.
crunched into it all.
But that's what they're hired to do.
Yeah, no, I'm not
Because-
blaming
No,
them.
I know, but I'm, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying, so there's
Yeah.
gotta be steps put in place. before that.
Exactly.
I didn't, I don't know if
So
that's
the
what it
letter is
says.
actually, so two separate things. One is, we need to add a step to the process when something comes
Exactly.
down, but the letter is written just requesting for space.
Oh,
And if we had gotten stuff from Byron Reed, we would need a place to put it. But you have other examples of things that need a space and we haven't done anything with yet because we don't have a space, that maybe we should add a couple more examples to the,
Okay.
Did you
and by
add
we,
that
I
in
guess
there?
I mean.
Huh?
Did you add that in there, the railroad crossing sign or anything?
No, I didn't. I just kind of stopped because it was like,
Over.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I
That's
guess
why
because
some-
now it's a confusing issue. Are we two separate issues? So maybe it's two separate letters. One is about, we would like to be inserted in the process when something's coming down. And then separate letter, which is what that
yeah,
one's
because it does
intent
say in here, a
is.
process or protocol needs to be in place to address our concerns, that history of this.
Right, so I
So,
guess, do we
yeah.
want to do two separate letters so
You know,
that
that- yeah,
it's
that might-
requesting this
yeah.
and requesting that
That
instead of
might be a good
combining them
idea.
into a single letter?
Two different.
Because it gets to be,
It's too much to follow. I actually, at the end of that letter, I thought you were just asking for space, but
Well, I
you were
stopped.
also bringing up
I
with
did
buy and
stop.
read
I did,
issues.
I do intend to add to it, but and maybe it's better to write two separate letters than add to
There's
this
two
one.
issues.
Two separate,
Yeah.
keep them distinct and give as many examples as you
Well,
can.
because the purpose of this letter is to express concern regarding the purpose and procedures of the Coventry Historic Preservation Commission. So that kind of talks about purpose and procedures.
We could stop both letters that way,
Yeah,
because it is.
yeah, all right. I think that makes more sense than me trying to, I think it might be confusing if it's all in one letter.
Yeah.
It would be clear.
Yeah.
This is what we're requesting for this, and this is what we're.
Because I did just end it. I did, once again, the Coventry Historic Commission would like to request an area for storage. But I could also add a paragraph there. Also, we need to be considered in these projects, a separate letter,
Two letters.
separate letter, okay. I'll send that to you. Yeah, because we need a place that nobody's gonna go in. I mean, people will go in, but it's not like that they're gonna be working on papers and we're gonna be putting things in there.
But you might also be working on stuff in there,
Well,
also
that's
on
true.
a commission.
Correct.
No, that's true,
I mean,
Yeah.
I
but
look,
it's not gonna be a museum that people.
No.
No.
come
No.
to.
but I
No.
look at it and I'm just using from what I've observed, being involved in Patuxent Valley
Mm.
addition over there and what they do. I mean, you're gonna have place that you have some file cabinets with
Mm.
stuff in it.
Mm.
Again, I've got stuff to donate. I know I keep saying this,
No, I
but I'm
know.
not gonna do it till there's a
Till you know,
legitimate
till
place
you know.
Right.
to put it that's safe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, people might want, you might have someone contact you that wants to research something
Mhm.
on something you have in there. Whatever, so you would have hopefully a table where someone can sit down at and look at things on, not on their own, there's someone around, like.
Yeah.
That's what happens over at Patuxent
Yeah.
Valley.
Yeah.
People
Right,
come in and
somebody's
try to
always
look
there.
up something on their family or something on the place where they lived or other information. But that's what I see, that, is part of the purpose of it and part of our purpose is trying to encourage
Mm.
preservation is
Yeah.
that you'd have the ability to let people come in and look at some of the stuff for their purpose of,
Well, you got all those glass plates
Their
still too,
history.
right? Those glass things they
Oh,
found.
the photos, yeah.
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 So-
But anyway,
So how about this as a suggestion? Seeing as the school was offered to the commission, that we take it, but it just stays status quo. If that's gonna
But
make
if
them
you're gonna
happy,
take it,
well, not take it, but put it under the commission jurisdiction, and then
then the town takes
Okay,
over.
good.
Yeah,
Then we're
that's a
not
good
gonna use
idea.
it.
but we leave it as it is, but the town, in doing that, would have to pay the electric bills. Not the society.
Hmm.
And the water bill, that pays the
Well,
water bill.
you'd have to
Not
make
that
them
it's
aware
huge,
of
but-
that.
No. I mean, and they don't mow the lawn. I mean,
No, I know.
Ginny Susie's son still mows the lawn.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
So if it's gonna come back, it has to be,
gonna have to be maintained by the town.
if it comes under a town agency. But then again, it still doesn't solve our problem of what we need.
You don't want it coming back.
No,
You don't want it coming back.
no, because it's better not to be.
Not to be mean, but
Mm.
our department, takes historic buildings. I mean,
Well, if,
Greg, what's getting done? And it's not their fault,
No,
but what gets done?
no. I mean, he doesn't need another lawn to mow.
No,
you know?
no.
so, I mean, it needs to be discussed, I think, with the town manager and Ann who proposed it.
Yeah,
I think we need to discuss that all before we say we want it, because to me,
You
it should
can't-
stay as it is.
You can't use it. It's
It's not
a
what we need.
school.
it's
And
a school.
It's not what we need. I don't want to put doors in there or railroad signs.
No.
It should be open more. I agree. It hasn't been open.
And then there's no parking.
It's true.
They
It's-
couldn't have functions
It's
there
not
anymore.
handicap accessible.
It's not handicap accessible.
Not that it has to be because it's a
No,
historic
not that it
building.
has to be, but
Right, but
When
it's not.
When you're bringing doors in, or glass.
But
yeah,
Or
I mean,
signs.
even the teen center, that shut down now, right? Is
Yeah.
that building
They showed
going?
us the teen center, no
Isn't
parking.
that going?
I don't know if it's going, it just shut down, and there's no more services.
Again, there's no parking there and.
No,
We
and
didn't
right
look at
around
that.
that bend
It's
is
in
very
terrible
dangerous.
condition.
my kids lived in that building, yeah.
Yeah, the building's a mess.
Yeah, we went and looked at it, but I wouldn't want people parking on that street.
No.
It's
I
very
wouldn't park
dangerous.
on that street.
You saw the teen center. I mean, that would be nice if it was somewhere else.
But it would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to make
Well, I
that
know,
building
yeah.
viable. The windows are all single glazed, they're falling apart. So if you want to keep it historic, they need to be restored. Very expensive. The siding's falling off the building. The roof is almost shot. The heating system is ancient to the point of ridiculousness. It's not even safe.
And plus it
So-
belongs to the athletic association.
Like, that's true. The
Well,
Anthony Athletic
It belongs to
Association.
the town, but it has to go back to the athletic association, which they can't find, so they can't sell it.
Right.
Doesn't exist, I don't think. I don't know how they get around that. Because I tried to find out.
It's another town-owned building that really has no purpose. Mainly, again, it's like that whole stretch of Washington Street. These buildings have no purpose anymore because the state, because of traffic, widened the roads and there's no parking. It's that stretch right down the street after the mill where that building sits empty with the other one. It'll never have a purpose
Yeah.
because there's no parking.
The old
And that'll
storefronts.
be, go the same route as Byron Reed, that someone's gonna either set it on
What
fire
building are you
someday
talking about?
or,
Across from Dr. Ballone's office.
yeah,
Where
where
the-
the, where the
wasn't the
laundry
laundromat?
used to be,
Yeah,
where the
I remember the
laundromat was for
laundromat.
years.
Yeah.
Once they widened the road to make that a lane that went through for the traffic flow, it destroyed the ability to have anything in those buildings. So that stretch from the corner down past the mill, now with the heavy traffic we have on the road, has made
Yeah.
those buildings useless.
Yeah, the liquor store, I think, is the first thing that has a parking lot, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
The only way that building that is
Still there.
was the youth center, could be used if someone made it into a single family house or
Right.
something like that, where they, because they could take the driveway into the back and
Mhm.
have a few parking places off the road. Not that that's
Isn't that right
easy.
on the river?
Yeah.
There's a
There's a
yard,
backyard.
there's a
Oh, there's a
backyard.
backyard there?
Yeah,
Oh,
very
yeah, it's
nice. Yeah,
nice.
this-
Oh,
It's
really?
very
Yeah.
nice.
Very nice
I'd like to
backyard,
live there. I
but-
like that
Driving
backyard.
by, I always thought it was just like, how does
No,
it?
No,
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 straight
there's
up.
a nice
There's a
backyard.
river, there's a river, there's a yard, that's a grassy area, yeah.
It's a beautiful spot. It's just, what do you do with it when you have, there's no place for
Yeah.
anybody to park? Okay,
Sorry.
All right, so I think we need to talk to the town manager about this,
Oh, I've already sent him.
because it's not
Couple
gonna
of
be a
emails.
simple thing to do. No, but it's not gonna be a simple thing to do.
Hmm.
It's not, nothing simple.
okay. So can I make a motion
To do what?
for you, for your letters? I make
Oh,
a motion
go
that
ahead.
Norma will do 2 letters.
Okay,
One for trying to acquire a space for our commission and another one for,
setting up our procedures and
yes, setting up our procedures.
when, something,
Because I think
Gets
we're
torn
supposed to
down
make a
again.
motion.
yeah, okay. Second?
Oh, okay, second. I got confused what I was supposed to
That's the only
say.
reason I'm doing it. I think we've got
Yeah.
to make a motion.
I mean, I wrote this one because after, when I watched Byron Reed come down, I thought it didn't have to be this way. I mean, it could have been preserved 10 years ago. We tried. And when it came down, it didn't need to be this way. That it just was crumbled and brought to the landfill. There was still value in that house, if not monetary, historic value in that building. I mean,
Well, I think we're learning as we go along
yeah,
too. I mean,
yeah.
that's the thing, is
Yeah.
you're learning from these past mistakes and
Yeah.
past things that happen to have to be
but you see,
more involved in when the stuff's
Yeah.
happening.
like Mapledale School. That's gonna have to come down. I don't know, is there anything salvageable in there? I don't really know.
I don't remember anything being,
There's moldings and things around the windows.
Do
I
do
mean,
you,
that's
do you
it.
realize how long ago it was that I patched the roof?
Oh, I
for
know.
them?
Oh,
Yeah.
my goodness.
That was
It's been a while.
7, 8 years ago
Yeah.
now, and nothing has been done since I did that. Those patches were meant as a
Temporary.
temporary
Remember?
one 1.5 year solution and they never did the roofs. So
You
that
did
means
that.
that that's been leaking.
Right after Kevin got hired.
And again, it's a
So, yeah.
situation where the eaves, I've driven by it, they're rotted. So that means the squirrels are getting inside and doing the damage that they do.
There were
the
cats living in
moisture.
it.
Yeah, it's, it's gonna end up coming down. But that's
Like
kind of
that
how
little
we,
mill house near Riverview Nursing Home, that's gonna
Yeah.
come down someday, and we
Yep.
wanted to go in and take out, salvage
some of
some
those
things out of
things.
there.
Yeah,
Where do we put it?
right. So,
Well, that house is empty now, right?
It's been empty for a
Oh, it's been
while.
empty for
Yeah,
a long time.
long
Yeah, he
time.
ended up in the nursing home, and I guess he gave them his house,
Mhm.
but they
Oh.
haven't done anything yet as far as, they're gonna make it a parking lot. What
Mhm.
I think is interesting about that house is its fireplace.
Yeah, you said that. I
Yeah,
remember.
it's a one family mill house, which you don't see a lot of. They're usually multi-family. And it has two
Back to back, you
two
said.
hearts, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
One in the
Can you
kitchen,
take,
and
you
one
didn't take
behind a
pictures?
wall.
You didn't take pictures of that?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
I
I
remember you
mean,
guys
and
going
just
there.
how that, because it's original. Most of those houses have been
Yeah,
done
they're
over.
gone. Yeah.
And I was like, how do you save a fire, a chimney? How do you save a chimney? A fireplace.
Have to take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah, but so it's not a simple move,
No.
but, there were some things in there, not a lot, but there were some things in there. It had its original wallpaper.
Wow.
Unfortunately, it smelled of
You can
kerosene
imagine
and,
now, really, again, it's, again, the mold just continues to grow in these places and
Yeah.
slowly destroys everything.
but if we want to save things or preserve things,
Well,
I mean, the granite at least went behind DPW. That at least got put somewhere. But this other stuff, as a building gets torn down or whatever,
I don't know.
All right, so 2 letters.
shall I make a motion to adjourn?
Anything else anybody wants to?
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting?
My second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I know you want to stay, Sandy, but,
No, not me. I want to go
Yeah.
home.
all right, so we've got
You want to what?
Go
stuff
home.
going
Go
on, so.
home. I do.